Hello, and welcome to the 51st episode of Graham Hughes' PUBCAST, and we are in Nottingham today.
This is my first time ever in Nottingham, or the city of snots, and we have...
I'm going to come back to this in a moment. My name is Graham Hughes, and obviously this is Adam Lee.
Hi again.
And 51 episodes,
51 episodes, although...
I've been to all of them.
You've been to every country on the planet as well, without
Also,
flying.
yeah,
I've been to every continent on the planet.
Oh, no one likes to show off.
We were in a pub earlier called the Old Jerusalem, Ye Old Jerusalem?
No, Ye Old Trip to Jerusalem.
Ye Old Trip to Jerusalem, which
It's a Crusader pub.
has a claim on it that it is the oldest pub in England. It's a claim that's shared with 327 other pubs.
Now, we wanted to do the podcast from the oldie trip to Jerusalem.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
in Nottingham.
Awesome. It's just
And it would have been great to do, but it was just too noisy.
too packed.
The
And at
sound
6 o'clock,
problems.
yeah, 6 o'clock they were going to turf everyone out from upstairs. So we went downstairs. It was absolutely solid. So we've come to the hotel where I'm staying, which
This is really swanky, mate.
Which you look as though you're in Chatsworth House.
I know,
here,
like
don't you?
leatherback seats. It's like, really?
You know, and
How much should stay here?
£56 for the night.
£56.
It's a really nice hotel. I think it's
that's
called
what
the
the
Walton.
train cost me to get down
I
here.
know, yeah, it's frightening. Anyway, so yeah, well, we did a podcast last week.
We did do one last week.
So
yeah.
what's happened in your life this week, Graham?
In my life, well, I came down to Nottingham.
The city of snots.
Right, I should explain. In a previous pubcast in Luxembourg. Adam went off on one as he
I didn't go off on one.
About the fact that Nottingham was once called Snottingham.
Which
and
it
I
was.
didn't believe him because I don't believe anything.
But I was proven right.
But he was right. Anyway, the whole episode took time out of the show and it was kind of not relevant to the actual podcast that we were doing. But today, it's kind of relevant.
It is relevant because it was
Nottingham
was called Snottingham, or the city of snots, but they dropped the S from the name.
Wikipedia, it's true.
So they dropped the S from the beginning of the name, which is something the people of Scunthorpe are glad that they didn't do in their town.
Hey. Were the people from Snottingham called Snotters?
I don't know. That could be worth a... We could ask it. I'm sure there's a local. We've ordered a little bit of food because...
Was it the sheriff of Snottingham?
It's a lot of S's in that title. Simon the Sileus Strangler.
Simon Silas, the sheriff of Nottingham, yeah. And cancel Christmas.
Well, so nothing big has happened in your life in the week since we did the last pubcast in Durham. Something big happened in my life.
It did?
Yes. So for all of you who've been following me, my father did actually pass away yesterday, early in the morning. I want to say thank you for the messages that people have been sending me and the messages of support and encouragement. He had a relatively short illness of about a month and a half, and I just want to take my hat off, if I was wearing a hat, but I pretended to take my hat off, to the staff at Rotherham District General Hospital who made him really very comfortable. And the amazing thing is that these nurses and doctors were from all four corners of this flat Earth we're on, and it's the Polish nurse and the Romanian doctor and the German consultants, all of whom, how dare these foreigners come over here and look after our octogenarians on our behalf. So thanks to all the staff anyway, whether they were British, Belgian, Berliners, whatever.
That's pretty tough, man. So you lost your dad yesterday, and today you're doing a podcast.
Well, it's interesting because my dad would want life to go on as normal.
Yeah.
So we lost mum last year, we've lost dad now. It's not like my brother, who's gone to see the world's strongest man competition.
You were telling me about this. You got to see the world's strongest man competition.
Yeah.
I assume he had tickets already. It's
think
not
I
like
think
your dad
he did.
died and then he was like,
I'm going to go and see the world's strongest man competition. No, he already had tickets, but it does tickle me a little bit because we always used to watch it as a family on the television. I don't know why. I think my mum really liked it, but he decided that it was still going to go, and even if Dad was still kicking, Simon was going to go, and I'd have come and done this podcast. But it's been an interesting day in politics. It's been the Labour leadership hustings today. Did you know
In Liverpool,
In Liverpool.
Well, I was going to go, but I came to Nottingham instead.
You're banned from the Labour Party, though.
I'm not banned from the Labour Party. I am, actually. The two things I'm banned from in this world, the United States of America and the Labour Party.
Well, I wouldn't worry too much about being banned from the United States.
Just tell you everything you need to know, really. I mean, I'm hoping that they will be forgiving of people like myself who were upset.
Pilloried, I think is the word you're looking for, isn't it? Pilloried?
Well, yeah. I mean, I was going to say I was upset about the direction the leadership was taking. I was, but I honestly, mate, in the last 3 years, it's been really, really difficult.
Thanks very much, mate.
I got pizza. Thank you, sir.
Where do I grab napkins from, mate? Oh, good as gold. Thank you. Right. Well, I've got us 2 different types of pizza.
Look at this, man. This is super fancy. I've got a chopping board to myself.
Yeah. Well, we'll sort of mix and match, because that's chicken and jalapeno, and that's pepperoni and mushroom, saucy sausage.
Happy days. So go on.
So
sorry, I was just saying.
Go on. Continue. Yeah.
The way I was made to feel by the Labour Party in the last few years is like an absolute scumbag. You know, you're worse than scum. You fuck off and join the Tories.
Yeah. Well, how did that policy work out for the Labour Party? As if we don't know.
Well, they got massively mullered in the general election.
Thanks very much, mate.
Thank you.
I've got to say, this hotel, the service is absolutely terrific.
It's really good, man. What is it? £58.
£56, sorry.
£56.
But the pizzas and 2 pints was about 22 quid. I mean, it's not bad value. So, I think it's called the Walton Hotel. Am I allowed to advertise from?
Yeah.
There are other hotels.
The Walton Hotel in Nottingham. Honestly, it's really beautiful. They got like leather settees.
They've got open fires, so
it's really nice.
It is, yeah. And you're staying in some like
mate. I once stayed literally in a broom closet in Angola for $80. It cost me $80.
$80.
The door didn't close. There wasn't enough room for the door to close.
So it's not worked out too well now. I was listening to some of the leadership hustings and some of the quotes on the news. Jess Phillips said something that I thought was very interesting. She said, if she became leader, she would terrify Boris Johnson across the dispatch box. And I think she would.
Yeah.
And she was saying that they're worrying about bongs on Big Bloody Ben on Brexit Day rather than the waiting lists and the NHS. And this week, the health minister has said, these targets for A&E waiting times of 4 hours, you know, we're not doing very well there. It's the worst since we started records in 2004.
Yep.
So we're going to get rid of the targets.
And what did Jeremy Corbyn say in 5 minutes discretion time on Wednesday about that?
I don't know.
Nothing.
There you go.
He didn't think to mention it. Which reminds me of the comedy sketch with French and Saunders when they were taking the mick out the Alien franchise movies. Mm-hmm. And one of them was sitting there and she had a face hugger on her face and the other one was like, you got something here.
Yeah,
you got
a bit of pizza on your beard. That's what it was, wasn't it?
So Big Ben's bongs have featured hugely in the news media this week.
Yeah.
Because this idea that, so essentially, just to go back to basics, Big Ben has been refurbished along with the Palace of Westminster. It was built in the 1800s. It's fucked. It keeps trying to burn itself down. The acoustics are wrecked. The water pipes are wrecked. The electricity's wrecked. Like it needs a complete refurbish from top to bottom. Now, a cheap way of doing it would be to get rid of all the parliamentarians and they'll
move them somewhere.
Meet in a hall down the road, and it would cost the taxpayer a lot less money. But because MPs being MPs, they said, no, we're going to stay here and you have to work around us, which is a bit like, it's about the train lines. You know, it's like trying to fix the train line while the trains are running on the train line.
You don't want to do that.
It's a lot more. It's a lot more expensive, and it takes a lot more time because you've got to fix everything up for the next day so everyone can get in and out without a train or a bit of masonry falling on their head.
Now, a train falling on your head.
The deal was that Big Ben would be set up to do a bong for New Year, Armistice Day, and Remembrance Sunday. So 3 times a year, 2 of them quite very close to each other. The clanger would be set up so it could bong, and this was all put into the plan for the refurbishment of the Westminster.
It's the Queen Elizabeth Tower, isn't it?
Queen Elizabeth Tower, Bell Tower, because Big Ben is the name of the bell, not tower. I learnt that in my Peppa Pig book. Anyway,
it's nice to know you've advanced there, Graham.
Moving swiftly on.
So Mark Francois, he was actually nominated to be the bell end that made the bong. We were going to use him as the clanger.
Can we call him Mark Franco is? Because I'm sure he wouldn't like the French pronunciation of his French name. Much like Nigel Farage wouldn't like the French pronunciation of his name, so we'll call him Nigel Farage.
Yeah. But he's actually said he doesn't mind whether it's Farage or Farage.
Nigel Farage.
As much intellect as me garage. Anyway, so Mark Francois was on about setting up a fundraiser to do it. Because, you know, the Tories, they're short of a bob or two, having got £200,000 just before Boris Johnson said he wasn't going to release the Russian papers. And that money came from the Russians.
Nice.
Anyway. We're eating and talking, and we shouldn't, should we?
I think we should. I'm hungry,
we're in
mate.
the pub. We're in the pub. This is what people do. They have a beer and a feed, don't they?
Well, yeah. Thank you for my piece. Do you want a piece of my pizza?
I've already taken a piece. I
thought
we were mixing and matching.
You can take some more if you like.
This is quite
really
good. No, this is really good.
So Big Ben's bongs have dominated the news headlines this week. But the real news story has been about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle.
Yes.
Who got married, the bastards.
How dare
Even though she had a mixed heritage.
An American divorcee with mixed heritage, eh?
So you look at the same news stories reporting on something that Kate Middleton, who's lovely and white, did, and then something that Meghan Markle did, which is exactly the same thing, and suddenly what Meghan did was awful.
Yeah, she's bragging about having a baby when she holds her tummy, but when it's me, I'm a bit fat and I've got gas, and when it's Kate Middleton, it's like, oh, she's such a delicate, loving mother. You know, and this is perpetrated by 2 newspapers mainly, I've found, the Daily Mail and the Daily Express. Now, I've got something to say about the Daily Mail, if I may, about all of this. There is a benefit. There is one benefit, one thing about the death of my father and mother that has come from, that has made me happy, in that I will never, ever, ever have to handle a copy of the Daily Mail ever again. Or the Sunday, the Heil on Sunday. I'll barely notice this rag in the newsagents, but it was...
Your dad was Labour, wasn't he?
No, my dad was Tory, but he voted Labour in the last election in December, because our local politician came up to myself and my father in the supermarket asking how I was, because I've spoken to him quite a bit on Brexit and other issues, as you can imagine, and he said, oh, I noticed your mother had died, and I said, oh, my father's just coming through the door now, and he deliberately went up to my father and had a chat with him and offered his condolences, and that meant a lot to me, Dad. So he said, I'm going to vote for him because he seems like a good egg.
He's a good lad, though, you're
John Healy. I think he's okay, yeah. I think he's okay. He did ask me, he did say, have we got any credibility with Jeremy Corbyn as leader? At the supermarket. I said, not a great deal with some of us. However, the mad Corbynistas who watch this are going to be calling us right-wing and all this kind of stuff now, aren't they? So,
goes without saying.
So, anyway, Rebecca Long Daly, Corbyn in a skirt.
We're going to come on to in a minute. Let's talk about Meghan Markle for a bit.
Sorry, Meghan Markle. I'm getting ahead of myself. Yeah. So this newspaper, the Daily Hile, has been.
It's made of paper. There's no news, but it's made of paper.
Yeah, it's a paper. The absolute nefarious bastards who are the reporters and the editors, because basically it comes from the top down.
Yeah.
This utter shit rag is responsible for these overwhelming attacks on Meghan Markle, and the Express is just as guilty. I can't speak about the Sun because I don't know anyone who buys it, and I will not pick it up. So
I get the impression they're along the same lines.
Are they? Right. I mean, it must be bad if you're gammon. I mean, thinking about Meghan Markle, right? She's an immigrant mixed-race divorcee living on state benefits in government-provided housing. That must cause some gammon to implode, because they love the royal family.
Meghan Markle, though, she's come a long way on her own before she met.
She has. She was a successful actor.
Prince Harry. And what I feel from the bile, the bilge that's coming out of people like Piers Morgan, is, I mean, he's obsessed with her.
He is.
He's absolutely obsessed, isn't he? Like, to a stalkerish degree.
Yeah, Piers Morgan. I mean, he's got a
him.
face that'd give goldfish diarrhea.
Why would a social grasper like Piers Morgan have such a massive problem with a mixed-race woman being his superior?
Because there's a...
As far as class is concerned, because she's a duchess. He's not. He'd love to be a duchess.
Yeah, he's a complete...
He'd love to be a human being.
Actually, I wouldn't take humanity with him. I was living in America when he got offered the job to replace Larry King.
Wow.
And he went down like a shit sandwich.
He did.
It was brilliant. I mean, I did agree with some of the things he said about the NRA.
Gun law.
Gun law. Yeah. But apart from that, he went down like a pork pie at a...
Yeah, but he's a smarmy piece of shit.
He is.
He is a smarmy, nasty man.
Mm.
And don't forget, he lost his job with the News of the World in the 90s.
Wow.
Because he reported on Harry's auntie leaving a food problem clinic.
Yeah, when they've got
eating clinic.
Eating disorder clinic.
That's it. So he was then snapped up. I mean, how shit at your job do you have to be? Here we go, I was sacked at that job, and then the fucking mirror go, oh, we'll take you. Yeah, thanks, mirror. So the mirror take him, and he's paying these foreign paparazzi motherfuckers to take pictures of Harry's mum. So they've already slammed Harry's auntie,
yep.
And then they go after his mum, and they hound her to death.
But she also used the media as well. She was clever.
No, she had no choice.
But
I don't agree with that, using it because she was clever. She had no choice, and she played it the best she could,
okay.
given the situation she was in.
I'll give you that. But Piers Morgan also authorised reporters to tap the mobile phone answering service of a murdered schoolgirl.
Yep.
So the police thought she was still alive, picking up the messages.
Yep.
That was Piers Morgan.
Yep.
What a good egg.
He also published fake pictures of our boys, our British troops,
urinating,
torturing and urinating on Iraqi prisoners.
Yeah.
And put the lives of hundreds of British soldiers at risk.
Yeah.
By doing so. He didn't give a fuck.
No, he
It's
doesn't.
Piers Morgan.
Oh, and so
Does he ever not land on his feet? Then he got a job in America, and then he got sacked from that because he's awful. And then he came over to the UK, and now he's on GMTV
whatever it is with
being an absolute
ass. He's an absolute ass, you know.
That's quite mild.
Well,
To be honest,
we're in a bit of a posh place.
His campaign against Meghan Markle has been just
Horrendous, yeah.
absolutely horrendous. And so
And we're not royalists by any stretch of the imagination, are we?
no. If someone said to me, "Oh, Graham, we're doing away with the royals," I'd be like, "Yeah,
No worries.
okay."
You know.
But I like Harry. Lots of good.
Yes, I mean the Invictus Games, what is done for injured and traumatised service personnel.
Talk about mental health,
Yep.
which needs to be done
Yeah.
a lot more.
Yeah.
And like, he was a force for good in this country, and here we are in Brexit Britain, where a mixed race couple can't feel like they belong. A mixed race couple have been hounded out of this country.
Yep.
They had to give up their royal titles.
Yeah,
to
that's
go,
just come out a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
They're no longer going to be
to go and live
HRH.
on the other side of the world in exile, effectively.
Yeah.
Because of the press, because of the tabloid newspapers. The same tabloid newspapers that have been feeding lies and disinformation about the EU for the last 30 years.
30 years. 30 years. Yeah.
And did you see the Daily Mail won the award yesterday for the most untrue newspaper?
Brilliant. We spoke earlier in the year, bearing in mind we're only 2 weeks in, but we spoke earlier in the year that, and we're going to set up a website, aren't we, about this, and we're going to rate journalists and newspapers
Yeah.
for truth, integrity, fact reporting, and all that kind of stuff. I can't remember what we're going to call it.
Rate a hack.
Rate a hack. Gammon
No,
watch.
I was going to try and find a better title than that, but yeah.
So when we do
Information needs to be in the public domain.
yeah, proper information.
I'm sick of seeing newspaper reports that don't have a byline. Who wrote this? Literally, who wrote this? Why aren't we being told who wrote this thing that's on the internet? We're not. It's just the Sun or the Mail or the Mirror. It just says, here's a report, which gives it an air of authority that I do not feel it deserves.
Just because a rag used to be a broadsheet like the Tory graph, they think they can get away with more just because they've had Boris Johnson do a weekly column before he became Prime Minister
For
for £250,000 a year. £250,000 a year. You'd do it for less.
which he called chicken feed.
Oh yeah, struggle to survive on that. You know, there's something wrong with this country, isn't there? Yeah.
Well, it bothers me that these people get paid for this stuff.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, if you were at work and you just, or if I was at work and just made something up, I'd be in jail.
Yeah, but it's advertising for themselves. So if you went to work and you said, "I'm going to make an advert," what's the advert for? That's going to be for me. I was like, okay, that's great. Not only will you, let you make that advert, we'll pay you to make that advert. Imagine Saatchi & Saatchi made an employee of Saatchi & Saatchi into the position where they could just literally make something up and
Get away with it.
get paid £250,000 for making that show. I don't think that would be a great business model, but
It seems
it's
to work.
proved an incredible business model for the Telegraph, which now basically owns the British Prime Minister, who still hasn't released
The Russia
report.
Now, we were talking about this earlier in the pub. I watched a film called Red Joan, and it's about
Red Dawn,
Red Joan. Now, it stars Dame Judi Dench.
Red River.
Shut up. It stars Judi Dench, and she is based on the story of a real person who, and what she did is she sold secrets to the Soviet Union about the British nuclear weapons program in the 1940s and 50s. And she was arrested in the year 2000.
Wow.
And it's a very good film, you should watch it if you haven't. But basically she was arrested for selling state secrets to the Soviet Union. We were talking about this earlier. Up until Tony Blair got into power, that would be called treason, and treason was the last offence in this country that you could still be hanged for.
There was also arson in the Royal Dockyards.
Oh yes, sorry, but there's no Royal Dockyards anymore. So, but
But Jack Straw did the better one.
Now, the thing is that We now have a President of the United States, a Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, and we've had a murder of a British citizen by Russian secret services on UK soil.
Yeah.
And why aren't these people been tried for treason?
Because
could it be there's money involved?
well, to put the American president on trial is a huge, massive undertaking.
Well, they are trying it now, aren't they?
Massive process, and you've got to gauge whether it's worth doing, considering that you need 66 people out of the 100 people in the Senate. So in America, they have two houses of representation. They've got the House of Representatives and they've got the Senate. The House of Representatives is based on population, give or take, and involves, 600 odd people.
Something like that, yeah.
Even though America's population is 5 times bigger than the UK, but whatever, we've just had that many representatives. Meanwhile, in the Senate, they just have 100 representatives, and somewhere like Wyoming, population less than 500,000, has the same level of representation in the US Senate, Wyoming, as California.
Which is the most populous state.
Which has over 39 million people living in it.
I thought it was more than that in California.
It is far and away the biggest state in terms of GDP in the entire US.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 3 point something.
Yeah.
For trillion, 3 point something trillion, just for
that state.
California. The next state, which is Texas, obviously with the oil and everything, is 1 point something. So just to give you some example of like how wrong this is in any metric of democracy or even landmass. I mean, you got to look at somewhere like Rhode Island, which is basically a tiny island.
It's a postage stamp. Yeah.
Has the same representation in the Senate as
Texas
California.
And California, which are massive states.
Which is bigger than Britain. I mean, yeah.
It's
mental. Right, I think it's bigger than Britain. If someone wants to check that out, get your Googles out, is what's bigger, California or Britain? In terms of the economy, California is bigger. But okay, correct me. In terms of population, the UK is bigger. I will give you that. I will give you that.
65 million roughly.
Yeah, it's more than that, man.
Yeah,
it's
but
like 67 or 68.
Yeah.
We're breeding like rabbits. British people breeding.
Then those funny foreigners and their funny foreign ways coming over here and looking after our old people.
The point is that in the Senate, you're very, very, very unlikely to actually convict the president of anything because 50 odd senators are from farming communities who think the president's awesome and will vote for him no matter what, even if the evidence is laid bare in front of them that this guy broke the law massively.
Yeah, it's like people who say Trump was sent by God. I have to question, has God run out of locusts? You know?
If anyone says that, I mean, like, read your Bible. Has anyone on this planet come closer to the biblical description of Satan?
It's tough, isn't it?
Donald J. Trump.
There are so many candidates for this. There's Donald Trump, Demonic Cummings, Boris Johnson, Nigel Farage.
The power of Donald Trump. Donald Trump is bang on. If there was an Antichrist, he is the Antichrist. He is heralding the end of the earth through climate change, which we're living through right now.
Yeah.
We've been warned about it for 30 years. We've done nothing about it for 30 years. We're still pumping more pollutants into the atmosphere than ever before, year on year. And we're going, let's do something about this. And we're not actually going to do something about
this. Not doing
this.
a great deal, unfortunately.
Jeremy Corbyn.
What
was his stance on the environment? I don't even know if he had one.
Well, he's not got a stance on anything, has he? That's the thing. It was such a wet weekend when it came to everything. I mean,
why is he still in power? Why are we still talking about him?
That's the thing, and we said this in the last PUBCAST in that pub in Durham. You know, we said, you know, he's got literally no shame. After
all
the
ego.
election,
No shame, all ego.
Yeah. I mean, what is it my friend used to say? All fur coat and no knickers, I think was the saying. It's a good Yorkshire saying. And you think,
I like the sound of that.
Well, I kind of do. Not with Jeremy Corbyn.
Oh, not with Jeremy. Oh,
maybe with Anne Widdecombe. I don't know.
oh,
but anyway.
Oh, mate, I'll never have sex again. Go on, anyway. Go on.
Anyway, but you think people are, you know, they've been so comprehensively thrashed in the general election, and you just think, why is he still there? I mean, why didn't they get an interim leader? Why on earth? I mean, you know,
because there's 200 MPs that left, and not one of them could match him in PMQs this week when he just let Boris Johnson say whatever he wanted to say.
Yeah, I mean, Boris Johnson he could have basically told us that the moon was made of green cheese. And nobody will question
Jeremy
that now.
Fucking Corbyn will do nothing about it.
Yeah, it's exactly, you know, and you just think, I've had enough.
I really want him to have an accident. Is that really bad? Is that really bad of me?
Yes, but
I really want him to have an accident which incapacitates him in a way that is not painful to him, but just takes him out of the equation when it comes to politics.
It's like that film Dave, isn't it? The film Dave about the American president. And he has a stroke, and he ends up
random person comes.
But no, it's a guy who does a lookalike.
Yeah.
It'd be like if Boris Johnson had a stroke, and then all of a sudden we'd see Drew on the news at PMQ.
Drew would make a better job of it.
Oh, I know he would.
Drew would be a much better.
I know, but
Jeremy Corbyn.
But that was the whole thing about the film Dave, is that the lookalike actually did a better job of the president's marriage and the president's job than the president who was actually vegetable. You know. By then.
Mate, I mean, why is he still there? Why won't he just fuck off?
You know, if you could put someone like Yvette Cooper in as interim leader.
She's not standing for leader.
Yeah.
Put him in as interim.
She did though, didn't she? She just didn't get the numbers. Did she?
No,
I don't know.
No, Corbyn said I'm just not resigning because of the Labour Party.
Yeah, because we're having a period of looking inward. Inward reflection.
Can I just point out to the dickheads in the Labour Party, and I'm one of them now. I rejoined.
I've not. I refuse.
Rejoined, mate.
Labour Party can kiss my chuddies.
I'm rejoining just to vote for Keir Starmer, and then I'm going to leave again.
If I joined, I'd vote for Jess Phillips.
But they're like, oh, we're gonna abide by the rules. We're gonna abide by the rules. Do you know what happens if you don't abide by the rules of the Labour Party? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Because they're not legally binding, so you won't go to jail. So why are you abiding by these stupid fucking rules that give you someone like Jeremy Corbyn to herald in the hegemony of the Tories for the next 50 fucking years?
How about the rules of decent humanity, in that if you have an MP who is openly anti-Semitic and is filmed doing it, why don't you sack him?
Oh, but he's not anti-Semitic. It's the fault of the Jews.
But
don't you know? It's the fault of the Jews. Is that the ones who complain about it?
They reinstate it. Oh yeah, so that'd be like. Oh right, yeah.
Oh, this is my point. So this week there was some cockhead on Question Time who I'd never heard of.
Yeah.
Lawrence Fox or something. Was that his name, Lawrence Fox?
I don't know.
No, he's part of the Fox family dynasty. I think his sister Megan was in the Transformers movies. The bad ones.
Robots, and Discourse.
Anyway, he was on Question Time this week for no good reason, and basically went up against a black woman from Liverpool, and he white-splained that racism in this country doesn't exist. This is a motherfucker who went to Harrow. #old boy.
Yeah. Okay, so racism doesn't exist in this country. Tell that to my friend Tim Heimerdinger, who, after the Brexit referendum, was openly abused and threatened, and has since, because of the attitude here in this country, he and his partner have left and gone to Denmark, where, funnily enough, he's not suffering from any racism.
That's heartbreaking, isn't it? Hounded out the country.
Tim.
And Meghan Markle. Doesn't matter where you're coming from. And we're in a situation now where foreigners feel uneasy being in this country, and this really fucks me off to the core of my being, because when I travel to every country in the world, everyone made me feel welcome.
Yeah. I mean, I've
Eritrea, to Iran, to Guyana, no matter where I was in the world, people made me feel welcome. They didn't hear my voice. They didn't see my white face and say, he's a cunt, he's a motherfucker.
Yeah.
I don't want him.
Yeah, it's like when
I don't want him in this place. What are you doing here?
I've not been to as many countries as Graham, but I have been to a lot. I've been quite lucky in my job. But the thing is
have you ever experienced the kind of racism that people?
Do you know the only time I've ever felt threatened was by the raging gammon when we were on the stage at the bottom of Downing Street. British men abusing British men. You know, and you think.
If you were black, if you were Jewish, if you were Muslim.
It's like our good friend Femi. I mean, he was getting berated by Piers Morgan and Mark Pudding Francois on television. And Femi, he's got balls of steel, that guy. I mean, what a terrific bloke. And Femi, the amount of shit and abuse he gets, and also the other thing as well is the amount of shit and abuse women get now.
Well, especially
Maddie. Well, look at Jess Phillips, where a Brexit Company Limited candidate openly joked about raping her, or not.
Yes. He said, I wouldn't even rape her.
I know. And then he said, oh, well, actually, I would. You know? And you think,
But this has been enabled by Labour.
This has been enabled by Labour.
My point is that if you say to someone from the EU, oh, don't talk too loud because you've got a funny accent, and if someone hears that, they might get a bit upset.
Yeah.
That's exactly the same route as you're taking with Jeremy Corbyn's disgusting comments about EU workers living here, driving down wages, and that is what that rich, privileged cunt said when he was asked about EU citizens living here.
Yeah.
This is a guy who went to bloody private school, never worked a real day's work in his absolute life. People are still defending him after that election, mate.
That election.
This is why I'm still spitting venom. I'm like,
after that election,
what does it take? Does he literally have...
I think the only way that he would actually be criticised by some of these people is if he was deliberately seen to be shooting puppies and impaling babies on spikes.
No, I think they would find a way around it. Those puppies were asking for it. Those babies had voted Tory, probably.
Or Lib Dem.
You know, Labour, right, is now seen by people in this country as the most unpatriotic thing that you could actually follow.
Yeah.
They're seen as un-British. And do you know what? Quite rightly.
Yeah.
I don't want to even disagree with that, because Labour seem to be absolutely obsessed with the rights of a group of oppressed people, and yes, they are oppressed, 1,000 miles away from here.
Well, more,
and I'm not interested in the right to the oppressed people in this nation right now, who are really feeling it. And I'm not just talking about ethnic minorities. I'm not just talking about people living on the streets. I'm talking about white working class kids growing up with the worst possible, metrics when it comes to outcomes in their lives. They're likely to live 10 years less than their neighbours on the affluent side of the street.
I phoned Graham the other week, and there's a gentleman who watches these videos. He's connected with me on Facebook, and he's from my hometown. Now, my hometown, I was born in a village, a quite well-to-do village, I have to say, but I was born in a village called Wickersley, just outside the town of Rotherham. Now, Rotherham was an industrial town.
Can I just say that well-to-do is a bit relative?
It's relatively well-to-do.
Yeah.
Right, okay, thank you. Anyway, so, basically, I can afford to stay in this hotel and you can't.
That's very
you're
true.
You're on the streets.
I'm on the couch tonight.
Anyway.
Story of my life.
Anyway, so, but Wickersley had got a bit of wealth, and Wiston had got a bit of wealth, and Rotherham itself, it used to be a very proud, very industrial town. It was a steelworking town, it was a coal mining town, and, there's none of that pride in the town anymore. And the sad thing is about all of this industry that has left is that people had community through it and pride. We had sports and social clubs. The factory had put on coach trips to Whitby or Scarborough, for the workers and their children once a year. Yeah. And all of that community has been lost. And I went into the centre of Rotherham.
You were telling me all this,
and I phoned him up and I said, there was shops that are still trading, the budget shops, and there's nothing wrong with that because I like a bargain myself, but there's no sort of higher end stores anymore. And these shops had got the windows panned in. There was horse shit all the way down the middle of the pedestrianised area. There were two women, and my father on his deathbed said there must have been like zombies, and there were, and one of them was shouting at the other in a thick, broad Yorkshire accent, "I'm not a fucking skank, you fucking cunt," and the other one was having another, "I never said you were a fucking skank, I called you a fucking slag," and and then I was thinking about someone called into the James O'Brien show once and said, "I'm sick of hearing foreign accents and foreign languages on his high street." And I was thinking, they were the only nice ones that I was hearing in Rotherham, And Rotherham, there's this beautiful bridge in the centre of Rotherham called Chantry Bridge. It's got a chapel on it. A chantry is a kind of chapel. And all the history...
Thank you, Mr. Patronising.
All this, some people don't know. Anyway.
You addressed that to me. You addressed it to the camera. Go on, tell me.
Anyway, and, there's bullet hole damage, there's musket shot damage from the Civil War. And, there's a lot of history in this town, and it could be a great little town. But it's been so decimated by the Conservatives, and people have forgotten that any funding that they've got has come from the EU.
Well, this is it,
and they've lost hope. There's no hope.
Well, in recent surveys, they found that over 70% of the British population is not optimistic about the future.
No.
And I can only assume that the other 30% don't actually know what's going on. But just drawing back 1 second to this question time with this Lawrence Fox. Is it Lawrence Fox?
I don't know.
Somebody Fox. Or not fantastic Mr. Fox.
Bell-end Fox.
Bell-end Fox. After it went back to Eyebrow Woman, who's the woman who does Question Time there?
Fiona Bruce.
She said, well, the BBC can't take any side on this, trying to be impartial.
Fucking bitch.
But Priti Patel said that there is no racism anymore. And echoed statements from James Cleverly this week that
James, not
he
so
didn't
cleverly.
think that racism was getting worse, even though all of the evidence and all of the statistics show they are getting worse. But the pernicious thing about this, the vile thing about this, is that all they're doing on the right there is echoing what the people on the left have been doing for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
When you have a situation in which 1,000 people put in a complaint about anti-Semitism in Labour, and then all you knobheads get on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and go, "Oh yes, but Noam Chomsky, he's Jewish and he speaks for all Jews and all minorities in the world ever, and he says it's not true." And that is so racist. And the fact that you don't even know that that's racist is mind-blowing to me. The fact that the people watching this, some of you have done this. You've said, I found someone, I'm a white British male or female, born into privilege, because we all are if we're white. And we're going to say that I found this one person on the other side of the world, or down the road or wherever, who is Jewish or black or Muslim, and they represent everybody who's an ethnic minority in the world. And so if you say, oh, anti-Semitism is happening or racism's happening, just find yourself a friendly Muslim who doesn't believe it, or a friendly Jew who doesn't believe it.
Yeah, because you could, it's like those people who turn around and say, they start the sentence with, "I'm not racist,
not racist, but,"
and then they come out with something wildly racist, and then you say, "That's a bit racist."
That was massively racist.
And they turn around and they say, "Yeah, but I've got a black friend."
But that's always, actually, Adam, that's always been a trope on the left, on the right, sorry, since the 1970s when you had these so-called comedians like Jim Davidson who were just massively racist and they would just come up and do these massive issues and you go, oh, it's okay, I'm joking about my mate, he's black, he's got chalky, it's okay, it's all haha. He thinks it's funny, so everyone who's black thinks this is funny. And it's the same mindset from the 70s that, oh look, I found this Jewish intellectual from another country who says that anti-Semitism isn't happening in the Labour Party. Case closed.
Perfect.
And you're like, what? How can you even think that? Why would you think for a second that a white person spoke for everyone who's white? Well, you know, if someone wants to argue against me and say, oh, well, hang on, Graham, Donald Trump said blah, 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 and he's white, and you're white, so...
Yeah.
Or Ringo Starr.
Ringo Starr,
He's a Scouser. Ringo Starr was born in Liverpool, in the Dingle, and you were born in Liverpool, Graham. So Ringo Starr now speaks for you.
Jeff
shitty
Boycott
racism.
Believes in the same rights for women as me, apparently, because he's a
Yorkshireman. You're
Yorkshireman.
both white. He just
Both
you're
white
a
Yorkshireman.
So he speaks for all Yorkshire people. On the grounds that he was born here.
Peter Sutcliffe.
Do you see how stupid this argument is?
Yeah.
But this is the argument that's been trotted out by the Labour Party for the last 4 years whenever any criticism about anti-Semitism has been fielded against it. And it happened this week. I had someone going, this Canadian intellectual who's Jewish, you need to listen to him, Graham, on my Facebook feed. Someone posted on my page to say, you need to listen to this person.
Why?
Who was Canadian.
So what?
About what they were saying about the Labour Party and anti-Semitism, and I'm like, I'm sure this has got nothing to do with anything.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah.
Could you imagine a murder? A murder, and then they go like, stop everyone, stop all the evidence, stop it, we've got a white person. And they're going to come into the witness box and they'll go, oh, this person's innocent.
Yeah.
What qualifications has this person got to say that this person who was found with blood all over them is innocent? I'm white, and the accused is white.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be like, It's just bizarre. Anyway, Labour Party.
Have I scared you?
No, it's, the Labour Party is still in complete and utter disarray. It's a rudderless ship with...
fucking idiots.
I mean, this guy is like the captain of the Titanic, the pillock we've got at the moment. I've
got more respect for the captain of the Titanic.
Yeah, because he was...
It wasn't his fault.
No.
He wasn't told at the moment of launching from Plymouth that they were going to hit an iceberg.
From Plymouth?
Portsmouth.
Southampton, I think.
Whatever, wherever it was from. He wasn't told that... The captain of the Titanic wasn't told from the moment of launching from the UK that there was an iceberg ahead. If he had been told that and ploughed on regardless, how would you feel about it?
Yeah, well, I mean...
A bit worse?
Yeah, I'd not be awfully happy, you know, but it was put under other pressure as well, they reckon, don't they? So,
last summer, I was shown the statistics, the polling data brought about by Best for Britain that showed if they had a general election next day, the Conservatives would win.
By a massive majority.
By specifically an 80-seat majority.
And how many seats did they win?
86.
86. Someone will correct us.
And a majority of that.
Yeah. Now that is the worst result. I mean, we said this in the last PUBCAST. That is the worst election result since 1935.
It's actually the worst election result ever for Labour.
Well,
because they gained seats in 35.
Yeah. So, what does that tell you?
They were starting off as a fledgling party. It's like when the Lib Dems won 60 seats in 2010. You could say, oh well, you know, they only won 60 seats, but then look at it from their optics. They were like, oh, we went up from like 12 seats to 60. Yay!
You're good with statistics. You used to do a lot of statistical analysis about these PUBCASts, so we're still #38%.
I haven't looked. To be honest with you, the last month we've done so few of these.
Well,
that
that's
I feel
true.
like
I mean, we did have the Christmas break and the New Year break.
and you've been looking after your dad as well. I mean,
Well, no, but the hospital has been looking after my dad. I've just been visiting, you know.
I know,
Let's put it into perspective.
I really, really respect the fact that you're here today doing
life
this.
goes on, and he'd want me to come and have a drink with me, mate, and have a pizza and get annoyed. But
I met Adam's dad. He was a lovely bloke.
thank you very much.
It
Didn't rub off on me.
No, obviously not.
But
yeah.
We've got this thing that some people have been putting hashtag 38% because he found that 33% watch the videos from start to finish. Then it's gone up to 38%. So that means 38.
It's gone back down.
38 of our 100 viewers watch it to the end. Well, anyway, this has been a bit of an ad hoc one because of obviously what happened in my life this week. And
also what's happening in politics. I mean, there's not much to say at the moment.
No, because I mean
we've got Big Ben's bongs, which aren't going to bong. Even though people are giving loads of money
the withdrawal agreement went through with a massive majority, didn't it?
Femi made such a great point on GMTV the other day.
Oh, I've got so much respect for Femi.
And he
Femi,
said,
get in touch with me.
He said, I've done one of these with him, you know.
You've done a couple where you did one in the car with him, I know. But Femi, get in touch. We want you back. Here.
Right. You just tell me and I'll give him a call. I just had to tell the camera.
I didn't know you'd got his phone number.
I do. I'll WhatsApp him.
WhatsApp him now.
All right, okay. All right, Femi. Femi made this really good point on Good Morning Television, or whatever it's called, on ITV this week.
He did. He said Piers Morgan is an asswipe.
Yeah, but he also said, what are you celebrating? On the 31st, what are you celebrating? Because if your whole thing was taking back sovereignty, what happens on the 31st is that we lose any ability to make any rules in the EU.
Yeah.
While still being under the rules of the EU.
So there's no sovereignty there.
During the transition period.
But again, too, what happened today was, what's the hard-boiled egg's name? Is the Chancellor. Sajid Javid. Sajid Javid looks like a hard-boiled egg. And I think he's a bit of a smeg. Anyway, Sajid Javid has said today that there will be no regulatory alignment with the EU, so businesses need to fuck up, basically. So,
well, here's the question.
But they promised us that we would have frictionless trade.
They promised us that EU citizens would suffer no loss of their rights.
To sell anything into the EU, we will have to have regulatory alignment with our with everything that we sell.
We'll have two production lines, one to the 65 million people who live here, and then another one to the 500 million people who live in the EU and the EEA.
So where are they going to move that to? Because Vauxhall have already announced that some of their production of the Astra is now going from Ellesmere Port to Germany.
Well, that's the thing. If your standards of production are at a certain level, you're not going to make them higher for someone else.
Or lower. You
might. You don't have to make them lower. If you've already got your standards here, they already meet those standards.
Yeah.
You don't ever have to make standards lower.
No.
So if the gold standard is the EU with the EC.
The CE mark.
The CE watermark.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We're not going to say we're going to have higher. Sorry, no, we're going to have higher standards.
So what's the point of Brexit then?
There is no point in Brexit, and this is a fantastic point that was made by Fintan O'Toole. You know, the Irish journalist who writes the Irish Times.
Mm-hmm.
Fintan O'Toole is one of my favourite journalists. Him and John Creese, is it?
Yeah.
He writes for the Guardian. He's very funny. But yeah, Fintan O'Toole is very astute. He's like a laser beam of astuteness. And he was talking about why the Brexiteers want Big Ben's bongs to bong. Big Ben's bell to bong. Yeah. And he said, because when you normally have a revolution, the next day you can do something that you've never done before. So when the Berlin Wall came down, if you were from East Berlin, you could
go into West Berlin.
Go into West Berlin.
Well, not only Berlin, it was East Germany into West Germany.
If you were French or the French Revolution, the revolution happened, you could run down the Champs-Elysees screaming, fuck the
royalty. You could.
And no one would arrest you and chop your head off.
What you could do, after the French Revolution that you couldn't do before, was cut off the heads of your aristocrats.
Yes. So there was something tangible that you could actually do after the revolution.
We are not suggesting we should cut off the heads of our aristocrats.
After the Brexit revolution at the end of this month, you can't even call it a revolution. Nothing is going to change. There's going to be nothing you could do on Friday the 31st of January that you can't do on Saturday the 1st of February, except to be represented by a member of the European Parliament. But in terms of eating a bag of crisps or going out and catching some fish or buying a car or doing anything that you would do in your normal everyday life, there's no change that's going to happen. So they have to have these bongs
and the 50 pence piece.
To have something, to say this is the thing that happened.
Because we haven't got blue passports yet.
Have we not? I thought they already came in.
No, I don't think they have. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I still think they're issuing burgundy passports, although it doesn't say European Union on it anymore.
Bastards.
At the end of this year, something fundamentally will have changed. There will be something. You will have lost your right to live and work in 30 other countries.
Yes. I think you already lose that on February the 1st.
No, it's the transition period.
Okay. So we lose a load of rights. We lose loads of protections as workers.
Yep.
We lose
even more capital and jobs.
And we open the floodgates to cheap Chinese tat and terrible American meat. And I was reading a report this week about the fact that amongst the awful things that Donald Trump has done, which includes deporting children who are terminally ill.
What a charmer.
It has been to deregulate the pork industry. So anyone slaughtering pigs, basically he wants the pork industry to regulate itself, which has gone exactly as well as you could possibly imagine, which is to say not well at all. And now American pork has way more pus and blood content than you really want in your meat.
So there's a case for becoming a vegetarian in the United States.
Well, it's the one good thing about Brexit, isn't it? It's going to make us all environmentalists, because all of these farms are going to turn to trees, turn to forests, and all of us are going to have to not eat meat anymore because it's going to make us violently ill and shit out of our faces. So, you know, when you say Brexit's all bad, Adam, you know, there's a silver cloud on the horizon. It's going to make us very, very environmentally friendly as we decompose and help the animals.
They say every cloud has a silver lining.
The grass.
They say every cloud has a silver lining. I've never heard a pilot say that. He must be worried. Anyway, we've been waffling on for about an hour. I don't even know how good this content is, but I'm sure the 38% will tell us.
Graham, Adam, if you're going to do a podcast, can you not have like 3 pints before you do the podcast?
I didn't. I hadn't. But no. So
do I have a tendency to go off on one?
You do. Yeah.
Is it charming or annoying?
Graham, you're 5 years younger than me, and you're the reason I've apologised to my brother, my older brother.
What, for being a younger brother?
For being a younger and annoying brother. So I feel like I've got the younger brother that I always wanted.
Don't you feel though that I should get a job for Labour? Like as an advisor, I could be their no man. They've been surrounded by yes men all this time.
What I would really like to see is Seamus Milne hung up by his fucking nutsack from Tower Bridge.
Yeah, that's not going to improve my career prospects.
Then you could get in. Right.
It's not dead man's boots. They can have as many advisors as they want. Do you think that it would help them to have an advisor who's going to go, no, that's a shit idea. What the fuck are you thinking?
I don't know. I don't know, because I don't know the state of the Labour Party now. I mean, you know,
it's fucked, mate. Just imagine
momentum
a dog that's fallen into a river and it's all muddy and it's...
I'm not going to shoot my dog because it's fallen into a river.
No, you don't have to shoot it. It's still alive. It's still running around, but it smells of shit and it's covered in like pond scum.
Okay. Well, I think I'd rather see some fresh blood in the Labour Party. And as for the Liberal Democrats, they can suck my balloon knot because they, I joined them because I had hope for them. And they called this election. They basically gifted this to Johnson on a silver platter. And, so I've got no... the real problem is now is that I actually feel like I've got more trust for people like Sajid Javid because he's bullshitting me. But I know he's bullshitting me. Whereas people in the Labour Party and people like Jo Swinson, she came across, gave this good presentation, and I thought, this could be a woman who would at least be able to be sensible and stand up to Johnson and stand up to Corbyn. And she just, it just was an ego trip for her for a few months, wasn't it?
She was going to be Prime Minister.
She was going to be Prime Minister. You're more likely to see angels fly out of my arse. Do you know
what? I could have done these podcasts. I could have done my resistance videos and stuff. And I actually made a resistance video where I implored people to vote tactically, and I never put it online.
Yeah.
I was like, what's the point? I just looked at these wankers who were supposed to be representing us on the left, and they came up so short of anything I would expect from a leader.
Yeah.
Actually, a human being. Never mind a leader. Just a human being.
Emily Thornberry. I mean, she's just got nothing about her, has she? And she's standing for leadership.
You haven't even mentioned Rebecca Long-Bailey, who's Continuity Corbyn, who's got momentum behind Momentum, which are a bunch of Tory entryists. If you are a member of Momentum and you haven't sussed out the fact that they are Tory entryists, you need your head read, seriously.
Yeah.
Because all Momentum have done is handed the Tories power on a level
10 years
that they could have never imagined. Because don't forget, the Tories haven't won a significant majority since 1987. That's pretty bleak, man.
Yeah, but the Labour Party haven't won a majority since Blair.
Actually, 87 is a long way before
Blair. 10 years.
2007. So I mean, 20 years.
20 years.
Yeah.
But
things take a long time in politics.
That's the thing, you see, the Tories have got such a massive majority that I think even with a half-decent leader like Keir Starmer...
Tories? What? Oh, I see.
Shush. Even with a half-decent leader like Keir Starmer or Jess Phillips leading Labour, the Tories have got such a massive majority, it's going to be 10 years of this bullshit. Realistically.
I don't feel like it's an insurmountable obstacle.
It's not insurmountable. I mean,
because their chief policy, which is Brexit, which they know is awful, and they know it's awful because they're saying, let's get Brexit done. They're not saying Brexit's going to be amazing. It's like
they've gone from those lies.
It's a horrible thing that we just have to get through.
Yeah.
Like the New Deal, it's medicine. Take this medicine and everything will be better. Except it's like an inverse of the New Deal.
They were telling us it was good when they were trying to sell it to us. But now they're just saying, let's get it done.
Let's get it done.
It's like ripping the plaster off, isn't it?
Yeah. But if Labour have any brains at all, and I have my doubts, but if they have any brains at all, they will push and push and push against everything the Conservatives are doing as far as Brexit is concerned.
Well,
why are you doing that? Why are you doing it? Get yourself on the news and the media every day. Why don't I hear, when there's a news story, why don't I hear what the Labour Party think about it?
Because they don't say anything.
Yeah, exactly. Why don't I hear that? Why don't I someone leave Love Island? I want to see what Labour Party thinks of it. No, I'm honestly serious about
Love
this.
Island.
Fucking interact.
Yeah.
Interact, Labour.
Yeah, but
stop leaving it to people who, like me and you, to actually talk to people and read the comments.
Or like the Liberal Democrats interact with people who volunteered to do canvassing for you and campaigning for you. Hello? No, I only got the emails when they wanted some fucking money.
The Lib Dems, mate. I tried. I tried to set something up where I'll travel around the country telling people about the things that Brexit lay in store, and they were like, "Yeah, that's cool if you can do it without us paying you." And I was like, I that would be lovely, and if I was a trust fund kid, I would love that. But I have got rent to pay. You mean a trust fund kid
like Seamus Milne?
Like Seamus Milne. Son of the Director General of the BBC. Alistair Milne, and also someone who went to a private school.
Did he really?
He did, along with Jenny what's her name? Is it Jenny Formby? From Labour Party.
Possibly, yeah.
She's the person that gives you the email when you join the Labour Party. She was privately educated as well.
Really?
As well as Jeremy Corbyn. Not old boy, hashtag old boy. Anyway, going back to the Lib Dems, so I offered to travel around the UK, and they said,
I offered to do it for free.
I couldn't do it. I would have done it for free if I was born into wealth.
Well, I'm
wasn't,
not born into wealth. I'm born into comfortable middle class. But I mean, I'm not. I was offering my time.
Honestly, would your landlord say to you, would your bank, if you got a mortgage, say to you, well, do you know what, Adam? You've been doing a lot of good.
Have a mortgage holiday.
You've been doing a lot of good around the country. Have a mortgage holiday.
Have a mortgage holiday.
Would they fuck?
The only time they give you a mortgage holiday is if you've got cancer or something.
Did they even give you a mortgage holiday there?
Yeah, wow. Sometimes.
Well, that's quite impressive. Well done, banks. Never thought I'd say that.
Anyway,
not our banks. You can go fuck yourself.
But the thing is, I was offering to, in my spare time, time off work, at minimum cost, go and do work for the Liberal Democrats in Sheffield Hallam and in Wentworth and Dearne, which is my constituency. Not a fucking message.
Not a dicky bird.
Not a message.
Well, I tried famously to stand for them as a candidate, and they were like,
"You've not got any resilience."
They marked me down in every category that they could not mark me down on, including leadership.
Resilience.
Okay, fair enough. Maybe I'm not a great leader. Communication.
He isn't.
Because it is actually very, very easy to get to every country in the world without flying on your own if you have no skills in communication whatsoever.
Yeah, dead easy.
And also, my values didn't mash with the so I think that the values thing hit me more than anything else. Was like, well, if I don't share
avocado on toast.
No, I don't. But if I don't, I don't like avocado. It tastes like snot in it.
Yeah, it's horrible.
It's like a pear, but it's made of snot.
I was being sarcastic, you snowflake.
Snozcumber. That's the closest you get to a snozcumber from the BFG. But saying I don't share the values, it's like, well, fuck off then. But the big thing for me was the resilience.
Yeah.
After spending 6 days in an African Congolese holding cell on my own with no glasses, no shirt, no shoes, and no food for 6 days, and then to get my hat back on my head and just travel out and then go to Kinshasa and then go to Angola like nothing had happened on my own. But I don't have the resilience.
Don't have resilience for the Lib Dems.
If it had been the Democratic Republic of Congo, that might have been resilient.
That might have been resilient. Or North Korea.
Yeah. But, I'm just bitter, mate. I'm just bitter.
Well, I wouldn't be. The world is probably a worse place for you not being a Liberal Democrat parliamentary candidate.
I'm glad, mate. That would have been honestly, mate, I'm glad I dodged that bullet. Imagine having to canvass and campaign in the middle of fucking winter. For a campaign that you knew you were going to lose.
Yeah.
They were going to lose it because all of the studies and polls that have been done said the Tories are going to win landslides if you do this.
Yep. Which they did. Anyway, we've gone on about that several times, well, twice now. This is the 2 pubcasts where we've raked over the coals, and we are going to start moving on in probably our next podcast. We've got some good ideas about things that we're going to do. It's going to involve revolution, breaking wind in the palaces of the mighty, Other things.
Revolution farting other things.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. But
Why did they put us in charge, Adam?
I know. You know, I think anyone becoming a politician should be able to do the dance of 1,000 arseholes. You know?
Yeah, anyone wanting to become a politician should not be evil. Should be the basic.
That sort of rules half of
Basic
them out,
principle.
doesn't it?
Not be an idiot. How can they let someone
Like Mark Francois.
well, like Jeremy Corbyn? He got 2 E's at A level.
Yeah, but Mark.
He was privately educated. He got 2 E's at A level. How thick do you need to be? I don't think any kid in my year in school, right? And admittedly, I went to a grammar school, but I don't think any of them got 2 E's. They all got better than that. Every one of them.
The Liverpool exceptionalism coming in there. Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, hour and 15 minutes. You've probably got enough material here that you can edit it down to 10. And
What, an hour and 10 or just 10?
just 10.
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. So thanks again for your support, and thank you
Thanks
all of
for
you
keeping on watching.
for your support through this time. People think I'm being a bit harsh, but Dad's probably in a better place now, and he's not suffering, and he's certainly not suffering me anymore. I just want to say again thanks to everyone, because I know a lot of you watch it, and again my friend Tim Heimerdinger, Paul Fletcher, and of course Graham, amongst others who have phoned me and messaged me while we were waiting for the inevitable to happen to Dad, and what has happened. So thanks again, and also to the staff in the District General. And on that note, I'm going to go and get some beer.
Yes, because we're both empty.
Here's to the EU, and
Here's to the EU.
bollocks to Corbyn.
And to your dad as well, mate.
And to Dad. Cheers, mate.
Cheers.